Willard Hale. And Willard is one L or two?
Two L's.
How do you spell that?
W-I-L-L.
Nice, huh?
Yeah.
A-R-D.
Now, we can't tell if they're male or female?
No. As they get a bit older, we could tell in that the females are bigger and fill the band. But at this age, we really can't tell because they're sized for the adult,
Right.
and they're still growing. So,
Right. Okay.
So we can't tell by looking at their genitals. We can't tell that.
Right.
But as they're almost full grown, the band will be loose.
Right.
The females are bigger, so the band will be tighter.
Would you be able to tell if it's...
Not me and not Dad.
Oh,
And I doubt anybody would. Maybe Carla Bloom, but no, their feathering shouldn't be distinctive.
yeah.
Male and female. And the coloration is variable. Some are lighter, some are darker.
So how many chicks are usually in a nest? 3?
1 to 4.
1 to 4.
And we have had one nest with 5, but we don't know if that was 1 female or 2 that laid the 5
Okay.
eggs. 2 to 3 is usual.
Right.
1 in a low food year is more likely, and 4 in a high food year is more likely.
Okay.
So in a really good year, there'll be 3s and 4s.
Right.
So far, this is nest number 11 that we've banded at, and we've had. How many were at yours? 2.
Okay, the
3.
6 threes.
Three were
Oh,
at.
3. Yeah, 3.
7
So 7 3s, 3 2s, and 1 1. Where was that 1 1? That was,
Oh gosh. I'd have to look at the book.
was the last nest. It was the last nest we did.
Oh,
on
that
Saturday.
was Piper's.
Pipers. No, there were 2 at Pipers. So what was? Did we do? So
I
it
was
was
the
it was a
Piper
row.
yard
It
and
was
that had
Mark
3.
Woodworth. Mark Woodworth
Mark
caregiver
Woodworth.
had 1.
Second
Okay.
to last nest. Yeah.
And they've been eating long-eared owl or short-eared owl.
Oh, really?
Dried up.
This is in the nest, so they've been eating, I think, long-eared owl.
That's the only one.
So they eat an owl.
That, eh?
They'll eat anything, and they'll eat any protein because they're hungry. They'll eat water beetles, they'll eat crayfish, they'll eat garter snakes, they'll eat kestrels, they'll eat swainson hawks, red-tailed hawks, short-eared owls, burrowing owls,
Canada geese.
Canada
tame
geese, tame geese.
They'll eat a
But
Canada
most-
goose.
Small children.
Well,
Ready to go out.
mostly they
Very
eat mice.
small
Mostly mice, rabbits, rabbits.
They were just checking to see if we were awake when they said that.
Okay, it's not a basket, it's a nest, and it's, we're gonna say 12 feet now. 12 feet and an elm tree.
One more.
And an elm tree, then one more to
Might not fit.
fold over.
So every year, can you tell if it's a healthy batch or an unhealthy batch of chicks as you're checking all the nests? Like if you were checking them and you seem to only find 1 chick, would that be?
If we find one, it could be a young pair. Could be
But it
something
has
happened
nothing to do with the weather, the environment.
It could be a low food year.
Right,
and they just
okay.
laid one. Dr. Houston claimed, and I think he's at least partly right, that if the male brings her more food, she'll lay a 2nd egg, and if you keep bringing food, she might lay a 3rd egg. In a really high food year, that's probably why they lay 4 eggs.
Oh, okay.
But you don't know what. Like we just went to a nest at the tower where there was an owl sitting on an egg,
Right.
but the egg was completely dried out. Was last year's egg.
Oh, okay.
So is this a young owl that's decided to try practice? And there was another owl beside it. So, or is it last year's owl who decided to sit on last year's egg?
Okay.
There's so much we don't know.
Yeah.
With nest camps, we're starting to learn more.
Right.
Mallard duck with a head.
Mallard duck with the head.
But about healthy, if they're 3 young and they're growing, that's healthy, right?
Right.
That means they're getting fed. They're
Exactly.
getting enough. So these 3 are getting fed, and they started a bit later than most of the other ones this year, but doesn't mean they might be the ones to survive because thunderstorm hits the hail,
Yeah,
all the
yeah, exactly.
ball size hail, all those ones stuff. So there's usually a spread of 6 to 8 weeks,
Okay.
or 6 to 10 weeks between the very early ones. When our Wendy Wriglins their young were flying 2 days ago.
Okay.
They were 9 weeks old, 10 weeks old.
Oh, so they're a lot
Sitting
bigger
on-
than these ones.
Sitting on February 7th. Yeah,
Not a lot bigger.
while they were flying.
Yeah, but they're not. From 50 feet away, they look the same size.
Well, if they were eating a
Wouldn't
mallard,
you say
that's
they
a
were
pretty
7
good
weeks
feed.
old?
They were bigger, but not a lot bigger.
Yeah, that's a relative term.
Well, what would cause the variation in sizes of this time of the year? They don't all hatch at the same. Don't
No.
like nest all at the same time.
No, the one at Wendy Wriglins was nesting February 7th.
February 7th.
They're not like a
Okay.
duck or a goose where they wait until they've got all of the eggs before they start incubating.
Okay.
They start incubating after the first egg. So if it takes them a week to lay the eggs, the last one to hatch is going to be a week.
So
They
they would have been
incubate for 5
sitting
weeks.
on those young ones during that cold weather
Oh, yeah.
in March. Like they would have, oh,
And it,
that was nasty. Yeah.
minus 20, minus 30, they're sitting.
Just be happy you're not an owl.
Yeah, no
Minus
kidding.
40. If it was,
away from the
if
nest.
we'd have had minus 40 in February, that would have been, she would have been sitting, and they would probably would have hatched. Because once they start sitting, it's rare they don't hatch. So what we saw in the last nest, that was rare.
Rare. Yeah.
Very rare.
So okay. So when did these ones start
So we
sitting?
think, I'm going to say they're 2 to 3 weeks old, and they incubate for 35 days. So that's 2 weeks plus 5 weeks, 7 weeks ago.
Right.
So if you go back in your calendar 7 weeks, that's when this one's at, which I think is probably 7 weeks or 8 weeks after Wendy Wriglins.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
that is amazing. That is
That is
amazing.
amazing. Yep.
And these ones might have as good a chance. You'd think the other ones have a better chance because they're more
mature
developed, and by winter, but the parents feed them right into the fall. Dan's heard at his house when he was at Matador, he heard them squawking in December for the parents to feed them.
Wow.
So they're like humans, the teenagers sometimes don't leave the house, they just want to be fed.
Don't leave the house.
And you hear a squawking, you'll hear them squawk in the summertime sometimes and into the fall. And it's almost like a frog.
Yeah.
And they're begging for food, and you've heard it many times.
Oh yeah. Like
They're
on the
anywhere
yard,
in
on
the yard or in the
Yeah.
pasture, and the parents, they can't stand it, they feed them. I think that's it.
Yeah,
it does.
That's very
Yeah.
familiar.
So it takes quite a while for them to start defending for themselves then.
Well, they're
Sounds like when
learning.
they're
They're
Yeah.
learning. And the ones at Wriglins have a head start because now there's all these young stuff. But maybe it's a, maybe the light, maybe it would have been 50 minus 45.
Yeah.
And she gets pushed off, and then maybe the eggs might freeze. So there's advantages and disadvantages. You think the early ones have the advantage, but that's not always the case. And then sometimes we've had once or twice where the nest blew down, and then they rebuilt. This was at the Tadamere nest, Lloyd's Tadamere.
It's for your movie.
And
Yeah.
just right nearby. No, it was at Michelle Trehorn's place. And we brought Carla Bloom there.
And I'll send you
from the
guys a
States. We brought her up,
Awesome.
and the nest was on the ground with broken eggs. And then 30 meters beyond was another magpie nest. We looked, and the horned owl was there. And we went, we climbed it, and things were like, it was still eggs, I think.
Yeah.
So we came back 5 weeks later, or 6 weeks later, and we banded at that nest. So she laid a second bunch of eggs, or finished her first bunch.
Yeah.
So we used to assume all this stuff. We also assume, initially it's a nest for life and all that, but now we're questioning that.
Questioning.
Yeah, that changes too.
How many bands do you recover a year that people report and say we found a band?
Oh, now I'm terrible with the bookwork and stuff, but Dr. Houston used to say something like, the bigger the bird, the higher the return rate.
Right.
And per year would be really low, but per lifetime he was getting something like 3 or 4% for the owls, and 6 or 7% for eagles, something like that. Dan would be better with numbers than me. I think eagles tends to be up to 10%, but they live. The oldest one, horned owls, they in the wild are like 28 years. That's the record. So they are quite long lived. And in captivity, Carlos had one that's even older than that. So you don't know until they've all lived their lifetime what percentage it gets recovered.
Probably a lot harder to find
And people used
an owl that has died in its natural environment,
Yeah.
and more so if they hit them on the road with a
And if-
car.
Exactly. So
I
you're
think
gonna
most
select where
animals,
the
when they're
car
going to
hit
die,
ones.
they go
Yeah.
hide to die, and you can't
And the
find
old days,
them.
people used to shoot them more too, so
Right.
you get more. Well, the
Right.
commonest cause we get are roadkill and electrocution, which is pretty
Okay.
common. And
Yeah.
we sometimes know the exact minute because the power goes out.
Right.
And we've gone out and we've found dead female owl, and then there's a male there, and they wanted us to take it to rehab. But the male will feed the young because they're squawking. And we know that once they're 2 weeks old, they can swallow a mouse whole. We've had nests that we've watched, 6 or 7 different nests, where the male has successfully raised the young.
Oh, really? Without
Because
them
he
on
could bring,
there?
but those nests will be full of dead rabbits and ducks
Wow.
and stuff because he doesn't tear them up, but the mice will all be gone.
Oh,
Okay.
So now how a mice here, a single male can do it.
Okay.
So we've seen that. We wrote up a doctor's died. That's one of 2 papers that I've written.
that's
Dead
interesting.
lone male ferruginous hawks and owls and rough-legged hawks raise young.
No kidding. Cool.
Joe Schmutz, U of S. I got my name on that paper because I'd noticed it in owls. So Dr. Stewart Houghton, he suggested we write that paper, so we did. So I'm proud of it, but
Yeah, I would
no-
be too.
nobody.
You guys must have met Dr. Houston, like Ken and
I
Wayne
did
would know
not.
him. No,
But probably
Ken-
Ken and his dad would.
Ken
have.
and his dad
okay,
did for
okay.
years. Yeah.
because yeah.
But that's probably 30 years since Stewart landed here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Close to.
But I banded with him. Okay, where did I banded with him 20? But that's 28, 25 years ago, right? Yeah. Okay,
That's- they
sure.
went to law school here.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Quite a little history, hey?
Oh, so many people involved, and
Yes.
Stuart was the man,
Yeah,
He
he
was
would
ba-
give you much more definite answers than I would.
and he banded birds in Saskatchewan for
Let's maybe move
80
away so
years
she
or
can get
70
back.
years.
Pretty close to 80 years.
Yeah, 80 years. Isn't that amazing?
We've all been on the ground here because when they hit you in the head, you don't want to get hit ever again. You could lose. People have lost an eye.
Oh, she's coming. She's coming.
Yeah, look
She's
at
coming.
Okay, wow.
Almost got it. Nice try.
Just a little fist bump.
You coming again?
Coming again. Incoming.
Oh, isn't she? So do we assume it's the female?
We yell.
Well, it's not always the female. It's Dan from the Hoot. Is that the female? I think so. We have had nests where both hit. And we've had nests where it's just the male, and we've had nests where it's just the female.
Right.
But we've definitely had all 3. And this one, I think the same bird because it just will not quit.
Makes them. Yeah.
And actually, I worry about both the climber and the owl itself. In Sweden, they make the banders wear padded helmets so that their owls don't get hurt.
I am dropping in one. Yeah.
She's right here.
He's over here.
And if the male comes, she may even get more aggressive if he comes from wherever he's hanging out. Sometimes she seems to get him to hit as well. We've seen it where. Hey!
Hey! Oh, right to the head,
Is that
eh?
the 3rd or the 4th?
That's the third.
The second one was to the back, but it tends to be the head, but not always.
I wish I brought my scoop back because this would be an easy one to speak.
This is what I remember.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean,
I remember 10, 15 years ago with the sleds, we were all lying on the ground. But I think, and then after that, we didn't get hit.
whoa, there's a range. Might be all right, Ross.
It'd be a good time for you, Steph, to grab that bird, bring it down, and we'll land it on the ground.
Trying to get the
Can't you just grab it, hand it down? Yeah. Although, Dan, maybe you should not go up here. Yeah, the swings it helps. Can you grab it, Steph?
yes, but I'm trying to say like
Now that
Just grab the bird.
and the young out because I know they've hit them before.
too. Yeah, you're right. But it'll be quicker. I think at this point, quickness is a good idea. Since the Swainson hog showed up.
Now that hawk flying around, would that be a predator for this?
No, it would be food for this bird.
Right.
The Swainson hog hate them and will hit them, and as long as they're above them in the daytime, but at nighttime the owl will kill. Sometimes even take animals. Hey, owl coming, Dad. Okay, you're good. You're good. Sorry, she's on the bin. She's on the bin. She's up on the grain bin, so she's not worried about the Swainson right now. Because the Swainson hawk was here, she was sitting right. Owl coming! Owl coming! Coming! Coming, Dan! Coming! Okay, nobody's quite safe, so I suggest we go together. Everybody else together. Like bears, in a group, safer in a group. Nobody's died in a group greater than 4. Oh, coming!
She's right in front of you, Steph.
She's above you in the tree. Andre, you're not safe there either. Yeah. So just under a tree together.
Turn around there, Owl.
It's unusual that there's.
No, I'm going to try to put it in the bag here for you. Because I don't like exposing it. I think okay.
Oh, maybe she'll come up.
Right. Yeah, I'll loosen up the bag here. Try to get that down on the ground so you guys don't have to come up again.
Could you throw down the pliers stuff?
Yes, I can.
I have one pair. Right there.
Good idea.
Andre?
This idea.
Okay, good.
Have you got another barrel? Okay, so you have 28.
I've got 31.
30, okay, so
This is your food. 20. So did I'm 30, 31? Is that right? I can hold it if you want. Steph, are you throwing down the pliers?
Pliers are already down.
They're down over there.
What do we call this?
Ken Hazel.
How do you
You know the Ken part, you know how to write that. Hazel is Hazel. Or Z as our buddies in the south say.
One out of the eight.
You get it? Yeah, just a mix. The thing to do is just before they hit, change the cadence a bit. Yeah, you have the howl a little. So you can say coming, so that he can get ready.
In a good position though. Just to get you.
Range finding.
She's range finding right now.
Ready to
pounce.
I think you're right, Dan. It was out there.
I think so. But I didn't remember, now that I remember him getting hit, I couldn't see before.
Come in, yeah! Wow. Are you counting? Is that 5?
She's persistent, hey?
I'll trade you.
Lock it up. You would know better than most.
Down,
Can I bring this all up? Can I bring this one up?
Leslie,
No,
Leslie, please don't. Leslie, please don't. You're a target when you're there.
Okay.
Be all ready. Have Stefan be ready, and
You're not that
send
mad at
somebody more expendable.
What's the eyelid underneath called?
Nictitating.
Nictitating membrane. Okay.
What is it
They
then?
have 2 eyelids, so if you watch,
Just took the owl.
watch, see that transparent? It's gonna come, there, right there.
Okay, let's see it again.
There you go.
Okay.
Then you're dropping
And it would have been, say, mixed potatoes.
Nick.
Airborne.
Right here at some risk. Any food other than the coop?
Back half the coot, and that is all.
Okay, where is she? She's there.
Yeah, I got my eye on it.
And as I was doing this up in the tree and stuff was telling me I'm okay, yeah, you're fine, we see her. The other one came
It's caught in the
hit me right
branches
in the
on the
face.
other side.
It's okay.
and made my eyelids
Now it's really caught in the branches on the other side.
stick like this, drove home and put me down, washed me off. Examined me on the table. No, you're going to be okay. Yeah, you got that. So I said, no problem. Everything's good.
I thought I heard you say something.
That was an interesting noise.
The chitter.
The adults will do that too if they're scared.
It's a distress.
Okay. It wants to get back
Okay, do we
out.
have another banded one?
Here's,
No, not yet, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Can you lower the bag?
I'm trying to, he's got it. Yeah, or she's got it, or it's got it.
16 feet or 17 meters.
Bird.
Yeah.
40, 50, where the farm boy went up, got hit, and he lost his eye, and then the human body, there's some kind of autoimmune response. He lost vision in the other eye, 2 separate times. You get a reflex ophthalmoplegia. I think it's called reflex ophthalmoplegia, and they both 2 separate cases where they were blind. Now, whether they were kids that were climbing for him or were just farm kids, I'm not sure, but he told me there were 2 cases. So I whenever anybody says there's an illness, they can check it. I say, well,
she's
no, or
just hot, a little hot.
so that. And sometimes you could be on the. We have had 3 or 4 nests like this one where they're really aggressive and they'll even hit you on the ground if you get close. That's an
ash. Dead ash.
You think it's an ash, eh? Not an elm? I think you're probably right. Ash or elm, Greg?
Well, it's got elm. It's got
Yeah.
I think it's ash.
I'm guessing elm.
These other ones are ash. I mean, that might
There's
not
your
be.
bag. You want to help opening it?
Yeah. They haven't leafed out. That's an elm over there. It's leafed out.
Keep an eye on the owl, eh? 'Cause it might keep on the ground. Yeah, she's focusing on you guys now.
Okay. Stop in the bag.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
When I don't know, it's in her guess.
I would outnumber all the other ones combined. But
Yeah, and I have some sense for teals and some sense for shovelers and pintails.
I haven't seen a blue-winged teal yet.
But that could be a pintail, secondary. Or you haven't seen a
Blue-winged teal yet. Green-winged I have.
Huh?
Well, it's just the water.
Oh, it's the bottom of it.
Yeah, but, yeah.
This is
Okay, landed up above you, which sometimes is safer, but then we've seen right down into our face when that we used to say, oh, you're safe. You're fine. You can't move around it. Shot to that. White.
How deep is the material in there?
He had a climber who lost their eye, one eye here recently. Really? An Australian arborist who climbed for. The guy they flew him to Edmonton. They had eye surgery on him. Back to Australia. Yeah.
too many people can say they lost their way. I agree.